Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today we're going to be making a video about Luckin Coffee. Before I start the video, guys, please make sure to leave a like on the video below. Subscribe to the channel for more awesome content. Join the family, guys. Let's go on our investing journey together. So, a lot of people have been asking me why Luckin Coffee continues to rally. As you guys know, Luckin Coffee traded in the $2 range for a very long time, and within the recent week, it's been doing absolutely amazing, up over 100%. If you guys don't know the story of Luckin Coffee, it's a huge coffee chain based out of China, basically set to rival Starbucks. They branded themselves as the Starbucks of China, coming out strong, had a lot of big time investors behind its name. Goldman Sachs and all these big banks were super bullish on Luckin Coffee. Muddy Waters published a research report about Luckin Coffee, basically in stating that the company was fabricating a lot of their sales, up to $202 million US, which is a lot of money. But people have to understand that after all this went down, a lot of people sold the stock and a lot of big time investors got rid of all their positions in Luckin Coffee. Luckin Coffee then got delisted from NASDAQ, which was a big deal in itself, and now it currently trades on over the counter. If you guys don't know what that is, it's basically a platform where you don't have to meet specific requirements all the time and stuff like that. Although we don't know the extent of the fraud, that has not been published to the public yet. So no one knows exactly how much of the sales were actually fabricated. No one even knows if Luckin Coffee is even a profitable company. But here's what we do know. They did clean out a lot of their management. And why is this important? So when companies do fraud, the first thing people want to see is a clean sweep of the management. Why? Because those are the people that were corrupting the company. They fired the CEO and they fired a bunch of people who were entailed to the fraud. And it looks good to the public eye when they know that Luckin Coffee is trying to fix the problem. Overall, Luckin Coffee is a huge coffee chain, 6,000 plus stores. It's still expanding like crazy, but a lot of people are confused on why Luckin Coffee is continuing to rally. Basically doubling its stock price in just about 1 week. And the reason I feel like it is because people still see the value of Luckin Coffee. Although it did commit the fraud, a lot of companies have recovered from fraud before. Look at General Electric, Wells Fargo, and all these American companies who have committed fraud. They're still up, they're still running, and a lot of people are still bullish on those stocks, and I feel like it's the same with Luckin Coffee. You have to understand that this is a huge coffee chain based in one of the biggest, if not the biggest country in the world. China houses at least 1 billion people, so it's a big coffee chain. And so putting it into perspective from an investment standpoint, people probably see the value of Luckin Coffee. They say, okay, it's a huge coffee chain in the biggest country in the world with 6,000 plus stores. Even after the fraud, they clean sweep the management. They have updated financials that haven't been released to the public. They're still opening up stores, so what does that mean? That means that the company is not going bankrupt, and that means the company is still making money. Why is this important? Because you have to take a look. So basically, when the research report came out that Luckin Coffee was committing fraud, they admitted to the fraud, and overall, most companies would be like, all right, that's it. They would throw in the towel, but Luckin Coffee is still doing business, and they're still expanding like crazy. If you guys don't know my position, I'm super bullish on Luckin Coffee just because I know that companies can recover from fraud, and it's a huge coffee chain that's based out of China that's still expanding, and it's got a huge dominance in China. So, picking up a huge coffee chain for, I picked it up at $2 and some change, but picking up a huge coffee chain for a couple of bucks, overall, I still think Luckin Coffee is still a very good value, and I think people are starting to notice this, hence the recent rally. This thing is trading at $5, which isn't anything impressive. It's compared to the fact, if we look at the 1 year chart, this thing was trading at $50 a share, and obviously it did sink a little bit because of the pandemic. If you guys don't know, the stock went to about $30, as all stocks basically did tank during the whole pandemic scene. But I am bullish on Luckin Coffee, and I think people should invest in Luckin Coffee. Obviously, everything I say in my videos is not financial advice. It's just my personal opinion, but I've always seen the value in Luckin Coffee. I know they committed fraud, and I'm not advocating for people to commit fraud. I'm not advocating for people to invest in a company that committed fraud. All I'm saying is, even though after the fraud, Luckin Coffee is still doing its best to clear its name. It's still doing its best to stay in business, and it's still operating. It's still making money. It's still expanding. And I know it's going to take some time for Luckin Coffee to actually get the trust of investors back. I know it's going to take some time for them to actually get a lot of what they used to have before, but that doesn't change my fact on why I'm bullish on Luckin Coffee. the company is not going anywhere. I mean, if the Luckin Coffee announced bankruptcy, I'd be a little bit more skeptical about actually investing in Luckin Coffee. But to the fact that Luckin Coffee is still up, it's still running, the stock price has doubled. I mean, and when it came down to it, they only got fined $9 million. And the cool thing about Luckin Coffee is they also have a lot of cash on hand. I think pretty close to about $1 billion in cash, which is very, very good, not only for expansion, but you can also pay out all your litigations and all the fines and still have enough cash to be standing and still to expand. I think Luckin Coffee right now, I think it's headed in the right direction, still expanding. They clean the management. They're doing all it can. They're doing all they can to basically clear the name. I think all Luckin Coffee has to do now is just basically gain the trust back of investors. And I know that it did lose a lot of trust from investors, and I know that it did burn a lot of people, and I'm sorry for everyone's loss. But overall, Luckin Coffee is trying to correct it. You have to understand that it's not their fault. I know sometimes you put people in power and they corrupt the business. They have their own mindset and they have their own path of what they want to take. But that doesn't change the fact that Luckin Coffee is continuing to rally. I think people are starting to see the value in Luckin Coffee overall. I think people are starting to see again that Luckin Coffee actually is worth the investment, despite if it keeps going up or even if it goes down. That's not going to change my mindset on Luckin Coffee because I'm looking at the long-term perspective of Luckin Coffee. Where will Luckin Coffee be in 1 year? Where will Luckin Coffee be in 5 years? You never know. It could end up being a very profitable company. Obviously, we do not have access to their updated financials, so nobody knows if the company is actually profitable. But to my personal opinion, I actually think Luckin Coffee is a profitable company. I think even before the fraud, Luckin Coffee is still very profitable. And why do I believe this? Because the company, basically when it came to inflating their sales, and actually they got called out on it, and it turned out to be true that they were fabricating a lot of their sales, they didn't really go into bankruptcy. So although no one really knows how they're doing, I mean, come on, a big coffee chain, like everybody drinks coffee. It has a huge dominance around the world. That's why I think Luckin Coffee is very successful. I'm very excited to actually take a look at their financials and evaluate the overall business, see where the business is headed, because if it turns out the company is profitable before, Luckin Coffee is going to get a lot more attention, and to show that basically they didn't need to fabricate sales to gain to the public eye. My personal opinion on why they actually fabricated the sales was just due to the simple fact that Starbucks was in China. They were expanding. Luckin Coffee really wanted to get to the attention of the public and investors very, very quickly to show that it had a dominant state in China. And I still think it does. And I still am super, super bullish on Luckin Coffee, on the overall fact that it's still expanding, it's still making money, and it's still operating. They're cleaning out the management. They have updated financials ready to go, a lot of cash on hand, and they're handling everything professionally, and they're trying to clear the brand of the name. With that being said, guys, that's all I really have to say about the video. Let me know down in the comment section below, guys, what you think of Luckin Coffee stock. Do you think Luckin Coffee stock is worth the investment? Do you think Luckin Coffee stock is going to continue to rally? I'm very curious to hear your thoughts. With that being said, guys, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Have a great day.